Timber should be taken to mean any sawnwood or lumber, cans, logs, poles, pulpwood and all other types of timber in loose or packaged forms. The term does not include wood pulp or similar cargo. Timber deck cargo means a cargo of timber carried on an uncovered part of a superstructure, deck or freeboard. The term does not include again wood pulp or similar cargo. Timber lashings include all lashings and securing components which possess a breaking strength of not less than 133 kilonewtons. Timber load line, a special load line assigned to ships complying with certain conditions relating to their construction set out by the International Convention on Load Lines and used when the cargo complies with the stowage and securing conditions of this code. Wood pulp and similar substances are not included in the timber terminology. As far as deck cargo regulation are concerned, the air-dried chemical variety must be kept dry, as once it is allowed to get wet it will start to swell. This action could cause serious damage to the ship's structure and the compartment in which it is carried. Timber is loaded in various forms with differing weights and methods being employed. Packaged timber is generally handled with rope slings, while the heavier logs, depending on size, are slung with wires, knotters or chain slings. Batten sawn timber more than 10 centimeters thick and approximately 15 to 18 centimeters wide, usually shipped in standardized bundles and may be pre-slung for ease of handling. Boards, which are sawn timber boards of less than 5 centimeters thickness but may be of any width. Cord, which is a timber off with a volume of 128 feet or 3.624 stirs. Deals are sawn timber of not less than 5 centimeters thickness and up to about 25 centimeters width. A standard deal is a single piece of timber measuring length 1.83 m x width 0.08 m. Logs, large and heavy pieces of timber, hewn or sawn, may also be referred to as balks. They are stored above and below decks, and individual logs may need to be considered as heavy lift cargo for the safe working load, SWL, of the cargo handling gear being used. Hip props, short straight lengths of timber stripped of bark and used for shoring of the ceilings of mines. They are shipped in a variety of sizes. Stack, which is a measure of timber equal to half a fathom and equate 108 feet. Note, the metric unit of timber that is known as a steer and is equal to 1 m or 35.314 feet or 0.2759 cords. Steps to be taken as per timber code prior to loading and during timber deck cargo. Prior to loading, a pre-stow plan should be made carefully after considering all the available information, WRT to the hold dimensions, cargo gear limitations and cargo dimensions, to allow the maximum utilization of the available space. The better the underdeck stowage, the more cargo can safely be carried on deck. The cargo spaces and related equipment should be examined to check for damages and repairs effected in an appropriate manner. The bilge suction screens should be examined to ensure they are clean, effective, and properly maintained to prevent the admission of debris into the bilge piping system. The bilge wells should be free of extraneous materials such as wood bark and wood splinters. Side sparring, pipe guards, etc., designed to protect internal hull members should be in place. The master should ensure that the opening and closing of any high ballast dump valves, TST aboard V/VS, are properly logged. The master should ensure that the dump valves are properly monitored to prevent the accidental readmission of water into these tanks. Leaving these tanks open to the sea could lead to an apparently inexplicable list, a shift of deck cargo, and potential capsize. During loading operations, each lift of logs should be hoisted aboard the ship in close proximity to the ship to minimize any potential swinging of the lift. The possibility of damage to the ship and the safety of those who work in the cargo spaces should be considered. The logs should not be swinging when lowered into the space. The hatch combing should be used, as necessary, to eliminate any swinging of the logs by gently resting the load against the inside of the combing, or on it, prior to loading. The logs should be stowed compactly, thereby eliminating as many voids as is practicable. The heaviest logs should be loaded first into the cargo spaces. Logs should generally be stowed compactly in a fore and aft direction. Any remaining void spaces should be filled with logs stowed athwartship so as to fill in the void across the breadth of the space as completely as the length of the logs permits. Athwartship voids should be filled tier by tier as loading progresses. Extreme pyramiding of logs should be avoided to the greatest extent possible. If the breadth of the space is greater than the breadth of the hatch opening, pyramiding may be avoided by sliding fore and aft loaded logs into the ends of the port and starboard space. This sliding of logs into the ends of the port and starboard side of the space should commence early in the loading process, after reaching a height of approximately 2 m above the inner bottom, and should continue throughout the loading process. A careful watch by ship's personnel should be maintained throughout the loading to ensure no structural damage occurs. Any damage which affects the seaworthiness of the ship should be repaired. When the logs are stowed to a height of about 1 m below the forward or aft athwartship hatch combing, the size of the lift of logs should be reduced to facilitate stowing of the remaining area, and logs in the hatch combing area should be stowed as compactly as possible to maximum capacity. After loading, the ship should be thoroughly examined to ascertain its structural condition. Bilges should be sounded to verify the ship's watertight integrity. During the voyage, the ship's heeling angle and rolling period should be checked, in a seaway, on a regular basis. Wedges, wastes, hammers, and portable pump, if provided, should be stored in an easily accessible place. The master or a responsible officer should ensure that it is safe to enter an enclosed space by ensuring that the space has been thoroughly ventilated by natural or mechanical means, testing the